All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Rebecca, and I'm an event planner with the Orange County Library System. Welcome to tonight's virtual event, Ask a Lawyer, presented by the Orange County Bar Association. In tonight's event, you'll have the opportunity to speak with a panel of attorneys to get insight and guidance on landlord-tenant law during the COVID-19 pandemic. Before we begin, I would like to share a couple things about Zoom. First of all, we are recording tonight's event and it will be added to the Orange County Bar Association's Facebook page. Please keep in mind that everyone's videos besides our speakers will be turned off. You will be muted unless you are asking a question, then you may unmute yourself. If you have a question and would like to speak, please use the raise your hand feature in Zoom, or at the bottom of your screen, you can open up your chat feature and you can write your name in the chat feature. And I'll go ahead and number everybody from 1 up until whatever number we have. I will put your name next to what number we are on. All right, we want to respect each other's and wait to be called on. We want to avoid anybody speaking out unless it's your turn. Without further ado, I would like to begin by introducing Cliff Geismar, our moderator for tonight's event.
Good
Hi,
evening.
Cliff.
Good evening. Hi. Happy New Year, everybody. My name is Clifford Geismar, Managing Attorney of the Law Office of Clifford J. Geismar, PA, as well as an Orange County Bar member. I'd like to thank you for attending our Ask a Lawyer event sponsored by the Orange County Bar Association and the Orange County Clerk of Courts. Before we get started, allow me to give you a little background about the Orange County Bar. The association has been around for 85 years, and during that time, we have grown to a membership of more than 3,400 attorneys, judges, and other legal professionals. In addition to serving the needs of our members, one of our goals has been to reach out into the community and provide services and programs that will benefit Central Floridians. Some of our programs include our members' pro bono work with the Legal Aid Society of the Orange County Bar Association, our lawyer referral and information service, our Law Week program for school children of Orange County, and our free citizen dispute and family law mediation program. The citizen dispute and family law mediations are facilitated by an impartial professional mediator who listens to both parties and encourages a resolution that is satisfactory to both parties. By reaching a settlement, both parties avoid court costs and the uncertainty of a trial outcome. This is a free program for anyone residing in Orange County. Tonight's Ask a Lawyer event is just one of those programs, and we hope you feel free to ask any questions you have about landlord-tenant law and evictions due to COVID-19. Orange County Bar attorneys Marcos Eugenios from the Eugenios Law Firm, Law Offices PLLC, I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly, and Joseph Sternberg from Landers and from Landers and Sternberg PLLC will help guide you through some of the tough issues that you want to know about. Tonight's event, as mentioned, will be recorded and shared on the Orange County Bar Association's Facebook page. Please be sure to like the page if you are on Facebook. I'd like to now introduce Roberta Walton. Ms. Walton is the inaugural manager for the Self-Help Center and the operations manager for the Orange County Clerk of Courts Family Services Division. As the Self-Help Center manager, she oversees services offered to self-represented litigants interested in family law, landlord-tenant law, and small claims cases, to include attorney consultations offered in collaboration with the Orange County Bar Association. In addition to self-help services, Roberta manages the entire Family Services Division, which includes all domestic relations actions, injunctions for protection, domestic violence actions, child support actions, and the local state disbursement unit. Prior to transitioning to the Clerk of Courts in 2015, she practiced real estate law, land use and development, and business law at Voight, PA. and I'd like to introduce her now to you.
Thank you, Cliff. I certainly appreciate the introduction, and good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for logging in and to learn a little bit more about landlord-tenant law here with our partners, the Orange County Bar Association. I'm going to attempt to share my screen now. Let's see. All right. Here we go. My role here tonight is very brief. I'm really going to share a little bit about the Orange County Clerk of Court Self-Help Center. For those of you who are not aware, Clerk Tiffany Moore Russell, one of the first duties when she was elected into office in 2014 was to seek out options for those who wanted to access the courts but did not want to retain an attorney. So we have lots of people out there who are interested in finding out how to represent themselves in court without the assistance of an attorney. And that was something, just because of her background in legal services and her time spent with Board of County Commissioners, that it really it sparked an interest for her. So what we did, August 14, 2015, we opened the doors for the inaugural Orange County Clerk of Court Self-Help Center. What we do there is we assist full service triage assistance provided to all individuals who are interested in representing themselves in court for a family law matter, for a residential landlord-tenant matter, and that includes both tenants and landlords, and for all small claims matters. And so those are money matters that everything from $8,000 and below. And so you can come to the Self-Help Center. We are located in the downtown Orange County Courthouse. We provide attorney consultations, notary and copy services, deputy clerk filing assistance. We do have 5 full-service deputy clerks that work there, and we offer triage services, meaning we have a full document library. So all of the forms that you need to help you move forward with a legal matter in one of the areas that I previously shared, we also provide the forms for a minimal fee right at the Self-Help Center. You can purchase the forms, you can complete the forms, and then you can also receive assistance from one of the deputy clerks that are assigned to the Self-Help Center to help you. If you have additional diligence that you need to do in terms of research or drafting, we also have 3 full-service self-help computers there for individuals who are interested in representing themselves. If you look at the screen, just follow me with the screen, I'm just circling, again, that's family law, small claims, and residential evictions. And here are the services that we provide. Now, we do have an alternative location in Apopka, but since the global pandemic, we have not reopened that office yet. So we are local at the Orange County, downtown Orlando, Orange County Courthouse, 425 North Orange Avenue, and we're located in room 340 on the 3rd floor. Again, that is for anybody interested in representing themselves. And I just want to share with you, you can schedule an appointment to meet with one of our attorneys. We do have a collaborative partnership with the Orange County Bar Association, as you heard me share previously. And all of our attorneys that serve on the Self-Help Center attorney panel are members of the Orange County Bar Association. Now, our Self-Help Center attorney appointments right now are virtual. So they're safe. We're looking out for you. Our attorneys come into the office, they are behind closed doors, and they log into a Zoom room, and it's a one-on-one virtual appointment between you and that attorney. So if you'd like to schedule an appointment and come down to our Self-Help Center to be seen by if you'd like to schedule an appointment by one of our attorneys, go to the website. And that's the reason why I pulled this screen up right here. You can go to our website, www.myorangeclerk.com, and schedule an appointment. You can do so from the comfort of your home and pay for that appointment. The appointments are non-refundable. It cannot be rescheduled, and they're scheduled in 15-minute increments. Or if you'd like to come down to the Self-Help Center, we are still open to the general public. and you can come down and see one of the 5 deputy clerks that are assigned to triage in the self-help center. Again, here's all of the things that we can assist you with in the self-help center, and then here are the things that we cannot. Just again, here's our location information. We are open Monday through Friday between the hours of 7:30 and 4. We're located on the 3rd floor in room 340 of the Orange County Courthouse, and we'd be happy to provide you with assistance. Again, if you'd just like to meet one of our self-help center attorneys, you can do so by logging in to the website, scheduling an appointment. Those appointments, I don't think I shared that with you, are $1 a minute. So just for $15, you can meet with a licensed attorney and get some assistance on how to move forward on your own with one of the areas that we've discussed here this evening. So again, that's really my role for this evening. I just wanted to share a little bit about the Self-Help Center with each of you. I do realize it is about landlord-tenant law. We do have documents and forms relevant for both landlords and tenants at the Self-Help Center. And our attorneys are on standby should you like to schedule an appointment via our website. Thank you again for having me. I appreciate it. As always, Cliff.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'll open the floor for questions regarding landlord, tenant law, and evictions due to COVID-19. And I'm sure there are a lot of questions. I know I get calls every day at the office regarding this. Who is first on the list? I don't see anybody in the chat area, but who wants to be first? Does somebody have a question? I have a question. I'll ask the first question. Are they processing eviction cases? I know that there was a hold on eviction cases at one point, and I think a lot of people may have the question: Are the judges processing and issuing eviction orders at this time?
Mhm.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And I'll just jump in, Cliff, if I may, and I'll just do a quick intro for myself. And I appreciate everyone putting this on. I've been in private practice now for about 5 years, and I started a firm with a colleague about 3 years ago, and February will be our 3rd year. And we do a wide array of cases, but I would say about 25% of them are landlord-tenant cases. So I've seen everything from in residential and commercial. I shouldn't say everything, but I've seen quite the array of cases, from issues with security deposits or an issue where a landlord isn't fixing an essential part of the property for tenants. And I've represented both sides, so I understand the perspective that from both a landlord's position and a tenant's. And but then I'll go ahead and I'll answer your question. Right now, all cases are moving forward. There was a temporary local, right, for Florida. There was last year an order from the governor regarding evictions, but that's not in place anymore. So I don't want to waste any of our time with talking about that. But the main thing to keep in mind right now is the CDC moratorium. So back in, I would have to look when it was originally entered. I actually had it up here a minute ago. Yeah, this was September. And this is a halt on evictions for nationwide. And the reason that the CDC had this order was because we're in a health crisis everyone is aware of, and the CDC wanted to prevent the spread, because you can imagine if you are forced to leave your home, there's a chance that you're going to have to go into a shelter or close quarters with relatives, something like that, and then that would be a recipe to increase the speed of the spread of COVID-19. So that was the rationale behind it. When it was initially signed, it was to expire at the end of last year, but it was just extended until January 31st of 2021. And my understanding is it's likely that they will continue to extend it. It's yet to be seen. But I just filed this on behalf of tenants last week, in fact. And what the way it works, and I could actually share my screen, I think, right? I guess that's disabled right now, but I do have a copy of this declaration. But essentially, there's a declaration. Okay, I see I'm co-host now. Okay. So, all right. This is actually, it's the identical form. You'll just ignore this expiration date up here in the corner because it has been extended to January 31st. But this is a declaration. So if anyone is facing a eviction lawsuit, if you meet all of these requirements right here, and there are a lot, so I can just, that's why I wanted to share so you can see. If you meet all these requirements, then your case should be stayed until at the earliest February 1st. And each court, it's gonna depend. I know in Orange County, it depends on the judge of when they have hearings, but it should be stayed basically if you meet all of these requirements. So you'll have to sign this declaration. It is under penalty of perjury, so it's very important that if you are going to be filling this out, that you understand that if you can't back up all of these points here, that you could get into a lot of trouble with the court. That's what it says here, is under penalty of perjury. So you could face a separate charge if you were questioned under oath and the court found that you were lying while you fill this out. So it's very important that you meet all these requirements. The biggest ones are that you have made, let's see, I think you're on this. Let's see, there's one that says you have to make, right here, I'm using best efforts to make timely partial payments that are as close to the full payment as the individual circumstances may permit. Take into account other non-discretionary expenses. So if you've stopped paying 100%, then that could be an issue here. You want to be making an attempt to make at least partial payments so that you can show the court, because the judges will want to see they're likely, if there's a hearing on this, that they're going to ask you questions to back it up. So that to me is probably the most pressing, important thing that's happening right now, given the virus. So this is a form that I don't know if the other hosts can share it. So and I don't know if it's in the self-help section as well. But this form right here, it's very important to read it and think about this, because this will buy you, this should halt any case. So I hope that answers, I know that answers probably more than what you were initially asked, Cliff, but
Thank you. Yeah, that's very helpful, I'm sure, to a lot of people. Daniel Ledesma, do you have a question?
Yes, my eviction has already been granted. What happened was in August, I was paid all the way up until August, almost September. I paid half of August. My son-in-law got murdered in my apartment, and they were giving me a hard time with cleaning the murder scene. I had to go because I was paying renter's insurance to them and everything. So I had to call like a cleanup company for them to tell me, and this is 3 weeks after it was still here, and they were refusing to clean it even though it was their carpet, their door. So I had to call the actual cleanup company, and they're the ones that told me that the landlord is responsible for the landlord's property. They were trying to charge me $4,000 to clean up a murder scene that I had nothing to do with. So I couldn't even move back in the apartment until October 1st because it took them that long to clean it, and a pipe exploded like a week after they started cleaning it. The whole house got flooded. So my ceiling is still brown. I don't have a refrigerator. They never replaced the bedroom door. It took them a week after I came back in October to actually put the carpet back in. We had to come in and paint ourselves because they were taking so long and we had nowhere to go. We were homeless. So we tried to get them to take off the month and a half we weren't here for rent, and they told us no, we still had to pay that, but we weren't here and we were paying somewhere else for rent. And with my son-in-law passing, he was the one working, the only one working. We all lost our income because of COVID. So we had a program that was willing to pay the whole $4,000 through Orange County, the eviction program. The landlord denied us the help because they're mad at us because they had to come in and clean it. So because of that, they're retaliating. They've been retaliating since we got back. They won't bring us a fridge. They won't come in and do any maintenance. They won't even speak to us. We were doing the program for 3 weeks and they still went, like, the only thing we had to do was that rent form, like, for partial payment. That's the only thing we were missing, but the landlord wouldn't sign it with us.
Are you out of the apartment at this point?
No, but I just
Still
got the
there?
letter like 3 days ago that the judge signed it.
So,
And
so
that he said,
Danielle, what was the letter?
it says that the judge granted the eviction and that he's sending it to the marshals. So, but I gave the judge like a 5-page letter explaining it. I even explained, I sent 140 pictures in. I sent the emails that we have the program to pay the whole thing. Even today, my other daughter lives here, and she was talking with the lady that works up front, and the lady showed her the email from the landlord saying, I get to choose who I help and I'm not helping them. So they did it on purpose.
When did the judge issue the order?
January 6th.
Okay. It's
my daughter's name.
Danielle, thank you for the question. And I wanted to say, first off, very troubling to hear. Sorry about your loss of your son-in-law. 2020 was a hard year for all of us, but that surmounts anything I've heard. So it sounds like quite a mess. And so my heart goes out to start with that. I want to give a little bit of detail about the process once there's an eviction's going on. So it probably gives a lot of help for you and other visitors today. When a judge signs an order, the next step is that the landlord or the landlord's represented by an attorney will be filing for what's called a writ of possession. And that's the paper that's the order that gives permission to the sheriff to then go and remove the tenants from a house. So if the order was on the 6th, and that was last Wednesday, right? If you look at the docket, you should look out for whether or not there's a writ of possession.
It said it on there. It said that the judge on it said that he was sending the paperwork to the sheriff for me to leave the premises immediately. So,
well, it's important to know if the writ has been, because the clerk actually issues it. So the judge will give the clerk that, or the judge's assistant, it goes to the clerk stamps it. That gives the sheriff permission to then go. And what sheriffs do is they'll post the writ and it'll say you have 24 hours or you have a certain amount of time to get out. And they do that so that you have time and they don't have to actually come in and force it.
Remove stuff.
Right. So and that's why I want to share this, because it's important to know if the writ hasn't been served yet, which it doesn't sound like it has. Have they come to the house and served a writ?
No.
Okay. So then what that means is you could file a motion. The motion would be called a motion to stay the writ of possession. Okay. And then you would want to fill out that affidavit if it applies to you, the declaration that I showed earlier, because that declaration then
Yeah, it does.
will,
We don't
right
really
there,
have any income.
the judge will at least hear your motion, should hear your motion. You can also file it as an emergency.
He
Joseph,
said the
would
judge he said the only reason he agreed to the eviction is because I didn't put the money in the court registry. But it's like we're in a pandemic and I had a program willing to pay every penny of it and they denied it. They did it for other people but denied me.
Joseph,
because
would Danielle would she want to file a motion for rehearing along with that, perhaps?
That probably makes sense, yeah, to have a hearing as well. That would bring, that's other issues, right? I mean, like right now, if you get that motion and the judge sees it as an emergency motion and stays the writ, that's going to at least buy her until February. So that's why that's number one. As far as hearing the actual cause of action for the eviction, right? The rationale why the judge ruled for the landlord, it sounds like there's a lot of substantive issues that could be raised in a rehearing. Yeah, so I would also do that, but at the same time, the most important thing is to stall the writ of possession, because without the sheriff having any notice that the case has been stayed, right, or the writ has been stayed, and stayed means temporarily halted, right? So without that stay, the sheriff could show up tomorrow and force you out by Friday, let's say, right? So that's my recommendation as far as if you're in a situation like that, is trying to stay as soon as possible.
How do I get that paperwork?
Let's see. I don't know, Rebecca, do you have a way to post a link to here? I can put a link to it, actually.
Yeah, and if it's something that I can share in the follow-up email, I can add that to the email as well.
Yes, please, because then I could just click it. We literally had the program that was willing to pay the whole thing because of our situation and COVID and everything else and us losing our job. It was my daughter's husband and she's 7 months pregnant with his second kid. So I'm disabled. I can't even work. So it's been like craziness since, and we've tried to work with them. We've tried to do the partial payment. We've done everything on our part, and literally my daughter saw the email from the owner today because they're selling the building, so they don't care. And she saw the email from the owner stating it's up to us whether we decide to allow them to get the help or not, and we're not helping them, so therefore we denied them on purpose. Like it was a retaliation because they had to do their job. And they didn't have people
get back in once you get the writ stayed and you get back into the court eventually. Hopefully, the judge will listen to all these defenses that you have.
Now, and
I wrote a
Danielle,
very detailed. I gave them emails, I gave them pictures, I gave them everything, and they still went through with it just because I didn't put money in. I'm like, how am I going to put the money if I had a program to pay the money?
Danielle,
that doesn't make sense.
Did you have any other questions regarding the situation? Or
no.
Let's move on. If you have other questions, we'll come back to you again. Unless,
Okay.
Joseph, if you want to add anything before we move on.
Yeah, what I wanted to add is a few months ago had looked at the Orange County program and I've referred people to it, but I don't know it well enough to talk about it today. But there's a great resource on the OCBA's page as well to find out about that program. So I can't answer that question for you, Danielle, about how that program, what the landlord's responsibilities are. And like, I don't know enough to answer that question, but I would recommend that you reach out to the OCBA
I did.
Orange County about that. And then I think we should move on to a few other questions.
Okay.
And best of luck.
As I said, Danielle, if you think of others, hopefully we can swing back around for you. Lourdes, iPhone?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Lourdes.
Hi.
Hi, good evening.
My husband has a question.
Yeah,
regarding-
I have a question. Okay, it's been like probably a year. I'm living month by month. I have no contract with the landlord, but
We've been here for 4 years.
we've been here since 2015, and now he came up with he need to raise the rent. He need a new contract, but now I'm paying $1,500 a month. Now he want $1,800 a month, and I just want to know what is my my rights as a tenant.
Well, you said,
Cliff.
did you have a written contract, written lease at one point?
Yes.
Yes,
And that expired, and then he put you on a month-to-month tenancy?
yes.
All right, well, he did that for a reason. He wants to control the situation. And the general rule on a month-to-month tenancy is that if the landlord gives you 15 days notice, he can evict you on that 15 days notice, after he gives you the 15 days notice. He does have a right to raise the rent. Are you on any kind of a governmental program of any type for rental assistance?
No.
Okay. In general, he has the right to raise the rent because he's the landlord. I don't know that there are any restrictions in effect now that prevents him from doing that. Any input from the panel on that?
No, I concur that there's typical types of relationships between a landlord and a tenant include leases are probably the most common, but then there's also a month to month. And on a month to month, like Cliff was saying, a landlord can, with 15-day notice, raise their rent, can decide not to renew for the following month. So long as they give that 15 days, there's not much you can do to fight that. You can disagree and then move out. You can tell them you don't want to agree to the increase in rent. So you also have that option, which I know is inconvenient, obviously, especially if you've been living somewhere for 4 years. Yeah, I think though the one piece of advice in this situation is, even though these are, there could be an imbalance of power, and the beauty of a lease is that you're going to have the right to be somewhere for a long period of time, right? For a year or more. So if you can, the best course of action is to try to mediate, right? And negotiate with the landlord, because if you're going to be using the court system, it's going to be delayed. It's expensive. And frankly, the best course of action is typically to have a conversation with them. So that would be my recommendation, given the way you presented the question.
And you may also be able to find something more affordable while you negotiate a temporary relationship with the landlord. You may be able to find something that you're better able to afford.
Yeah, I do find something. The problem is that I don't have the deposit, because every time I get the deposit or the money, here comes the first of the month, and he wants the money. Also, I understand his part, but
Yeah, I think you may need to be a bit more proactive and see if there are any alternatives any other options for you than this landlord.
Because also I told him he can have half of the how do you call it, deposit? The previous deposit that he got $2,000 already from the beginning. But he said that's go to the escrow and it's untouchable until.
Do you have a security deposit
Yes.
with him?
Yeah, with him, 2015.
Okay. Well, when you when the lease terminates, you have a right to that security deposit back unless he makes a written claim on it. So you may be able to use that money if you're going to a new place. But he's got to put a claim in if he wants. A lot of times landlords will try to keep the security deposit. They need to put a written claim. They need to serve you with a written claim itemizing what they're keeping your deposit for and how much they're keeping, or else you have a right to it back. So you may want to keep that in mind as well.
Okay.
But as Joseph said, it's a rough situation. The landlord did that, to keep himself in control of his premises, and so that he's able to maximize what he gets out of it, the profit.
Yes.
Did you have any other questions regarding that situation?
No.
Okay, we'll move on to another question. If you do have other questions, we'll come around to you again and answer it. Jackie, did you have a question? Is Jackie still there?
Jared's actually first before Jackie.
Oh, Jared, I thought that was Jared. Jared, do you have a question? Is Jared still online? What about Jackie?
I see Jared's still there. I just don't know. He doesn't look mute either. Jared, we can't hear you. I don't know Jared, if you want to put your question into the chat, maybe we'll come back to it after Jackie.
Jackie, can you hear us? What about moving on to Kim? Is Kim there? Does anyone have a question? If you want to announce yourself with a question, that would be okay. If there's anybody who has a question.
Kim, Kim, you can go ahead.
Kim, do you have a question? Danielle, did you have any other questions regarding your situation?
No, that'll be it. I'm just gonna do that. You gave me the link.
It sounds like that will be a help. I think the advice given is very good advice. I think it will benefit you.
Oh yeah, Kat, I wanted to ask one more question. We moved back here. We moved back in here on October 1st, and on October 17th, there was a robbery that happened upstairs. So there was like 100 bullets that flew in our hallway, and there's still blood outside my door. They poured bleach outside the door and left it there for like 3 weeks before they finally decided to pressure wash it. But during that, I was in the bathroom. It was 2 a.m. and I was going to the bathroom. I was going to walk my dog, and I had to go to the bathroom, thank God, because I would have been out there during it. But basically, they tried to rob the guy upstairs, so it was a major shooting. Like, I've never heard that many bullets fly in my whole entire life. But I literally, had to run to save my son from the front of the house where the bullets were flying. And I, shattered my whole foot. So, I mean, I don't know how to say this. I just feel like with all the stuff that we've been through, that we should be able to go after them even for all, just even the emotional trauma they put us through here. Because when all this happened, we were perfect tenants. They said we were perfect tenants. Like when my son-in-law got killed, we're perfect tenants. We asked them, can you please switch us to a different apartment? You know, we're paid in rent. We have no issues here, you know, and they're like, no, we can't. And because of what happened, they're not going to renew your lease either. So we kind of basically knew then that they were going to start messing with us. And they didn't do a professional cleanup here for the murder scene at all. Like, they literally just came in and had the maintenance guy pull the carpet and take the door. And since we've been back, we've been living with like a moldy ceiling because there's still a huge brown spot they haven't taken out of our living room. It's like at least 5 feet of brown that's still there. We haven't had a fridge. We don't have a door to the bedroom. We've had nothing but shootings nonstop since we came back here. The worst one was October 17th. And I literally like shattered my whole foot just trying to save my son. They don't have any cameras here. They don't have any kind of security here. They don't have anything here. So I've actually been trying to contact a lawyer to see if we could actually do something against them just for all that they've put us through. Like, just the emotional trauma alone was enough because they've literally harassed us every day since for like 3 months, but wouldn't even come in here to fix anything. They left our door wide open. We got robbed because when the pipes flooded and the murder, they just left the door wide open. They didn't lock our door, nothing, and all of our possessions were still in here. And we actually had to pay rent somewhere else during that time. Plus, they wanted us to pay it here. So it's just been like a really big mess. And I'm not sure if you guys can, you know, point a direction on a lawyer we could even speak to just about all that we've been put through since it's happened.
Well, the one thing you say about the security, it could be an issue whether they were negligent in the security of the premises.
They don't have any cameras. They don't have security. They don't like. And there's been like
it's
10
hard to say with any certainty because your fact situation, we don't know all the facts. But depending upon what happened, who was involved, and how it occurred, it's possible there's a claim for liability based on the failure to provide security or to properly protect the premises.
Yeah, there's been 5 shootings since
that would have to be checked out further.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.
Kim, are you there? Okay. Are there any other questions? I can't see how many people are in are waiting, if any. If there are any other questions, you can speak up.
Kim, I saw that you had your hand raised again. If you'd like, you can unmute yourself. If you're having trouble unmuting yourself, please let us know in the chat. If anybody else would like a chance to speak, please feel free to put that in the chat, or you can go ahead and unmute yourself at this time.
Okay, that has never happened before where we've exhausted the question.
Yeah.
I don't
Kim,
think
let me see. Kim, you've unmuted. Go ahead and try talking.
It could be something with her device.
Yeah, if you want, you can type your question in the chat, Kim. If you are trying to communicate and you're using a device like a phone device, you want to make sure that you're connected to audio using the settings on your phone. So we'll give you guys a chance to connect. So again, if you're on maybe a device and you're not connected to audio, please make sure that you check your settings and connect to audio.
Going back to something that Danielle was talking about, I think it was Danielle. It may have been the other person with a question, but it brought up. I was thinking that a 7-day notice to the landlord to take care of some of the landlord's obligations, that's often a remedy that a tenant will have. You can serve a 7-day notice for the landlord to cure a fault that to fulfill their obligation, or you can tell the landlord in that notice that you'll be withholding rent if they don't if they don't fulfill their responsibilities and take care of what they're supposed to pursuant to the terms of the lease. Of course, you can't just write a letter. It has to be the language from the Florida statutes, and it has to be provided to the landlord in the way that the statute provides. But that's another tool that a tenant has that you can use if the landlord is not living up to their end of the bargain. All right. Is there anybody else who has anything that they want to ask?
Kim, you are unmuted if you'd like to try speaking. Also, again, if you're having issues with your mic, if you can let us know in your chat feature.
Looks like Kim is there, but no response.
Kim, if you also want to maybe exit and rejoin, we will wait a couple minutes. While we're waiting, I will, sorry.
I'm here again. I'm sorry. Hi, it's doing this phone here. So what was it?
How long you can stay?
So how long I can stay in the property, or how many days he can give me to move out? Because for February, he won $1,800, which is too much. If you want I don't know.
When did you last pay your rent?
It's every first of the month.
Did you pay on the 1st of this month?
Yes.
And has the landlord provided you with a notice that he wants to terminate the tenancy, the lease?
No, nothing in writing. It's texting. He lives in New York.
Okay. Well, you're going to have time. Just the process of him looking to get you out is going to take him time to do that, and it's not clear that he's followed the right procedures, to get you out at this point. So I think you have a little bit of time. He needs to do the right. He needs to proceed the right way to try to evict you.
So the question is, do we still have time, or do we have to pay the next month even though we don't have a contract? And then thinking about he's saying that he wants to raise the rent for 600 or 1,600 for January, is 1,700 for February, and then 1,800 for March. That's what he want to do. He want to raise every month $100
until we move out.
Until
I
we
think,
move
like
out.
Joseph said, the best thing is to try to work something out with the gentleman. And whatever money you give him, make sure you document whatever you give him so that you've got proof of what you've paid.
Okay.
Right, and I'll add that the rule regarding terminating a month-to-month is 15-day notice. And so today's the 13th. If he doesn't give you notice by the 15th, right, or the 16th, because this is a 31 days this month, then he doesn't have a cause of action in February. So if he just gave you a notice saying I'm terminating by the 16th of this month, then he would have the right to ask you to leave, right? And he'd have a cause of action. If you refuse to agree to the rent increase and you pay $1,500 and he accepts it, then you still have that month to month. You still have that right to be there.
Okay, because
Right.
we already paid this month $1,500 and he get it. So, but he's saying that we still owe him $100 for this month.
When did he tell you that he wanted to raise January's rent?
When was that?
This month.
It was this month.
Well, that's not proper. He has to give you 15-day notice. So unless he gave you notice by the 16th of December that January rent was going to raise, he has no right to ask you for an extra $100 at this point.
Okay, we don't know at that, yeah. All right, well, thank you very much.
Well,
That
thank
answered
you.
our question.
You're welcome.
All right, Cliff, I actually have the next question in the chat. Is there anything I should look out for as a landlord if I want to rent my lot to someone to park and live on in their RV?
So would you repeat that? I'm sorry. I don't know if
Yeah.
we caught it, Cliff.
Oh, sorry. Is there anything I should look out for as a landlord if I want to rent my lot to someone to park and live on in their RV?
Cliff, I don't know if you have experience with this, but there are two statutes that come into play when it comes to various landlord-tenant relationships. And the one for landlord-tenants is 83. But there's a separate section, and I believe it's 82 or it's another somewhere in the 80s that applies to mobile homes. And I frankly, I don't know that statute because I haven't litigated around it. So I don't know what recommendations I would give specifically, except for to review that statute because it's going to tell you what you can and cannot do when it comes to mobile homes. Cliff, do you have anything to add?
Well, I would, at a minimum, I'd want to make sure that they provide you with whatever licenses they need. Make sure that their vehicle is in compliance with all the laws. And then, like Jeffrey said, like Joseph said, I'm sorry, Joseph. Like Joseph said, review the statute that has with regard to recreational vehicles, and it would be in that landlord-tenant area of the statutes. But make sure that they're in compliance at a bare minimum. Make sure they're in compliance with the law, and you'd want to make sure that you're not. That you have in writing that they agree to be responsible for compliance with all law as it relates to their RV. Let's see. Okay, well, if anybody, please contact the Orange County Bar Association's lawyer referral and information service to be referred to an attorney for a free consultation of up to 30 minutes. You may be charged for speaking with the attorney for any services that are provided beyond the initial consultation. But if you call into the Orange County Bar Association, we can refer you to an attorney who can answer questions just like we've been doing this evening, and give you a head start on what you need to do and perhaps point you in the right direction. We do have a few more minutes. If anybody has any questions or anybody wants to add anything, we have about 4 or 5 minutes left. And you can feel free to speak if you have something that you want to be heard.
While we wait for anybody who has a question, I do want to mention that I will be sending out an email to all the attendees tonight with all the information that was shared in today's event. So you guys will have all those phone numbers and links to websites that was mentioned. And those will be who you can contact if you have further questions. And I also want to thank Cliff and Joseph and the Orange County Bar Association. Thank you so much for your time tonight and being here and answering our questions.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure, and happy to help. And anyone that has further questions, yeah, reach out to the OCBA. And if you get forwarded to myself or not, I'd like to, I will do my best to answer any specific questions you all have. But that was it. So it's always a pleasure to give back. So thanks for putting this together, Rebecca.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Please note that this event is recorded and will be uploaded to the Orange County Bar Association's Facebook page. Feel free to take a watch if you weren't able to look at it all. All right, I hope you guys have a great night.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.